Hey, what's up, guys? So have you ever wondered, like, what made you start using drugs? And if you haven't wondered, you need to start thinking about it, because it's going to be those things that cause you to go back into your addiction. So today we're going to go through some things, and we're going to help you figure out where you need to start on, what's it called when you analyze yourself on
taking,
what's it called?
Self-inventory.
Self-inventory. Personal inventory?
Personal
Maybe
inventory.
that's it?
That'll work.
Something
we
like
do
that.
But I think it was because of her I started using.
No, you didn't even know me.
You
better watch your mouth.
Okay, I'm just
Okay.
saying. But I mean, either way, it's not because of what somebody. Well, I guess.
No, I mean, there are factors that are environmental.
Right.
I mean, there's environmental factors, but there's a lot. There's so much. You guys have got like a whole book worth of things.
It goes real deep, and it does just go further deeper, than just using. You know what I'm saying? Just like the typical reason why we use. Sometimes some of us just start out like, well, I had a good time. And then it turns into addiction later on down the road. Well,
whenever I first started using, it was really, I thought that it was really just a social thing, just because, I just did it because I was doing it.
Right.
But I was in addiction for a while, but then once I got in recovery and I started, doing all these, the 12 steps, isn't it? Examine yourself. And, I really realized that a lot of my using was self-medicating from, past traumas, childhood traumas, and mental disorders. That's and it's all just self-medicating when it comes to things like that.
Right, and then our addiction covers up.
Gosh, I almost failed.
Some of the past, like I said, the past trauma, and some things that we don't want to face. You know what I'm saying? But then you have to, once you get into recovery, you have to find out the root of where my addiction really come from. And for me personally, what triggers my addiction is my anger, my depression, my anxiety. But I didn't know that that's what was triggering my addiction.
But all those can be roots of how your addiction started.
Exactly. Right.
There's all kinds of factors when it comes to trying to figure out the root of your addiction. And, it really can be overwhelming, but just start with a list. Like that, for me, that really helps put things into perspective and, help me figure out and really do some real deep self-examination, was making a list. Let me see, genetic factors. That's one. And
so y'all, I don't know if I'm smart enough to even think about this.
I ain't even going to try and go into that. If y'all know what it means, please comment, educate us, because
talk to us.
I did a lot of research last night and I hurt my head. Like, I'm so glad there was not a test, because I would have failed.
Pop quiz.
Just being honest. But genetic factors, they are a thing.
Right.
It says family history and genetic predisposition can play a significant role in in the development of addiction. And predisposition is just like where hereditary. It runs in the family. But I don't really agree. I'm different though. Like, yes, it can be hereditary, but we break those.
We're the chain breakers.
Yeah, we
are those. I've broken the generational curse.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's what I was trying to go with.
And it sometimes it depends on who you come from.
It does.
It does. That's the genetic factor of it.
Yeah.
So it's in my genes. But the thing is, you don't have to stay that way. Find out about it. Find out if that's even the path that you've been going on.
Yeah.
And that might be the reason. But there's a lot of factors in addiction. But you have to. And recovery is not easy. It's not. Biology in high school was not easy.
It's not easy. It's not easy now. It wasn't easy then. It ain't easy now.
Right. There's a lot of things that play a key part of our addiction. And, it's like for me, we're going to talk about it later, it's the co-occurring disorder. I talked about it before.
Yeah.
But, the co-occurring disorder, I did not know that a lot of my addiction stemmed from me covering up my anger, my depression, and my anxiety, just covering up those things.
Yeah.
And that's, like her, at first it was, well, I can't say it first because I smoked my first joint when I was 8 years old. When I started smoking pot religiously by the time I was 12. So I was already covering up things. Anytime I had an anger or if I got depressed, I'd go straight to the pot.
Yeah, at 8 years old. Right. So that was a lot, you guys.
Right. So it's not. I didn't even have time to even work on anything or any problems. It wasn't even recognized as other than he's got
he's just throwing a fit. He ain't
right.
He ain't get his ways.
right. So I mean, and that's another thing too. Once our brains aren't physically developed. But my brain definitely was not developed at age 12.
Yeah, no.
So by me, starting out as having an addictive personality, my go-to was smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
I wasn't facing any of the problems that I was coming up on. No. So,
and a lot of times,
and it just got worse as I got older.
Yeah,
and I went to other things. So I was
bigger, better things.
Right? Yeah, for 20. I used methamphetamines for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And so that definitely did not help.
Definitely didn't.
But help. But the thing is, I was covering up all of these rooted problems that stem to me having an addictive personality.
I mean, we've said it, I don't know how many times. Addiction is just a side effect of deeper, more serious issues, underlying issues. And if you make yourself a list, I made myself a list last night, and which, I mean, I already knew some of these things about myself, but turns out a bunch of these go into my
right. I had a lot more going on than I even thought.
It's not just one that contributed to my start in addiction. It's a bunch of them. It was environmental influences, it was emotional disorders and emotional trauma from childhood trauma, abuse,
psychological.
Yeah, that's where the
mental
psychological
health, because I've been recently re-diagnosed because evidently I was misdiagnosed.
I mean, that happens sometimes. Unfortunately,
went to a doctor,
it does.
and I was misdiagnosed as being. I'd found out. They said, "Well, what did the doctor tell you?" And I was like, "Well, she told me that I was manic depressive, borderline bipolar," and she just kind of giggled. And I was like, "What? That's not funny." She's like, "No, I'm sorry." But the thing is, those two terms are exactly the same thing. And she was like, what did she prescribe you? And I told her what she prescribed me. And she was like, oh, that is definitely not you. You're not type 1, you're type 2. You shouldn't have been taking that medicine. You should have been on something else. She's like, you could have been. She's like, I understand why you said you could have seen a bus of old people turn over and be like, oh, that sucked.
Yeah.
And had no emotions either way. She's like, because you was misdiagnosed and was given the wrong medicine. You could have jumped off a bridge and not even, thought twice about it.
Yeah. So
so you have to be careful who you go to and be truthful. Exactly. Be truthful and be honest of what your background has been in your past when you talk to somebody, but my mental health was not stable. And, this mental health, it was a key factor in, my addiction.
Yeah.
I didn't, before I was misdiagnosed, I was still self-medicating like most people do these days, as we get older.
I mean, that's really what I'm not going to say all addiction, but I mean, at some point, that's really what it becomes, because literally everybody in this whole wide world suffers from depression, anxiety, stress, like all of those things. Like, you can't tell me you ain't never been stressed, depressed, anxious.
Right, the devil throws fiery darts at us every day.
Yeah, but I mean, in a lot, it's us too, though.
Yeah.
It's not just the devil, but I mean, addiction is always some form of self-medication, but finding out where it came from, how it started, is going to help you in your recovery, because it's going to keep you from when moments like that come up. Or like, I have PTSD, so sometimes and I suffer from my PTSD comes out in my dreams, so I have nightmares really bad sometimes. And it's in those moments that I need to know how to cope with those feelings.
Right.
That way I don't turn back to what I've always known to do. So
because addiction has destroyed my life multiple times.
But
but that was because when I tried to get sober before, I didn't have anything planned. I didn't have anything set in place. I had no goals.
Yeah.
You know, and so why nothing's changed because I didn't think that I needed to change. I didn't think that I was the problem.
Yeah.
You know, but then I found out that I was the problem, and I started digging in. What you laughing at? Man, not now. But so I found out, I was the problem, and I had to figure out, well, there's something actually going on with me. Something, there's something inside of me that I'm not talking about.
See, and that's what I was going to say.
I'm holding things in. That I didn't think actually played a part in my addiction.
Well, it's things that you don't even know exist. Like, I had absolutely no idea until I had a whole breakdown one night. And finally, like, you were like, come on, let's go talk to Pathways. It's going to be fun. But I had no idea that I was suffering from PSD. All I knew was I felt
PTSD.
like what did I say?
PSD.
Oh, well, whatever. Same thing. Whatever. But my point is, I didn't even know that I had that disorder,
Right.
And so in my mind, I was just freaking out, like my world was crumbling around me.
You probably thought PTSD was just people that went to war had.
I mean,
right?
If I'm being honest, why you gotta call me out like that?
But I mean, that's the thing, though. Like, a lot of people don't understand that you being in a car wreck,
and
having been traumatized, and that's PTSD.
Childhood abuse, childhood neglect,
right?
Adult abuse, adult neglect.
Right.
Being taken advantage of. All of those things can result in PTSD.
Right. And that's why we say, it's, and we might, again, we're going to repeat ourselves on a lot of things here, getting your accountability people,
we stay repeating ourselves.
Having somebody that you can trust, that you can talk to and open up to, that has actually been through it, like, get you a counselor, go talk to somebody, talk to a pastor, talk to, your Sunday school teacher.
That's how you're going to find a lot of the roots. That's where you'll figure them out at, is in your recovery groups or in your counseling meetings, your therapy sessions. That's where a lot of these answers are going to come from. You'll figure out that you use drug because of childhood abuse, because of, and not even just childhood, behavioral influences. That plays a big part.
Your social factors, there's your cultural factors. Like, I was brought up in the culture in my family, it was okay to drink a beer and smoke a joint. That's how daddy's hot. Oh, take him a joint. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we see that, as growing up, we look at that and see that, well, it's okay. Then now I'm seeing that that's okay. If that's what settles him down, that's what's going to make me okay.
And that's part of the behavioral influences too, because you grow up and you learn that, okay, well, that's how you deal with anger. That's how I'm supposed to deal with stress. That's how I'm supposed to act in that situation. When we have parties at our house, we're supposed to drink. There's supposed to be beer involved. Those are those behavioral influences and the cultural influences. You can't have a party without alcohol. Gotta have that.
Right.
If you get angry or you get depressed or you get upset about anything, the answer is to go to the fridge. I saw my uncle doing it. Every time he got upset, he'd go get a beer out of the fridge. You know what I mean? Like, not saying, because I ain't really got no uncles that lived around, so like I didn't see that, but I'm just saying, when you're a child, you learn from the people around you. So if that's all they do, then that's what you're going to believe that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, well, we are products of our own environment.
Yeah, even as adults.
Kids, even as adults. Pastor says it all the time. You're not going to be who you want to be. You're going to be who you hang around.
Yeah.
And that sets in, in any type of situation, whoever you are.
Well, that's where the personal responsibility and the choice come into play, because yes, all of these factors play a role in why you began using drugs, but at some point, like we were saying, you have to decide that you're going to break those chains. You're not going to, like you said, the generational curses, like we break those around here, because you have to finally decide that, okay, like for me, I had to finally decide, yes, I was taken advantage of as a child. Yes, I was abused. Yes, it was super traumatic. Yes, I still suffer from, there's side effects that still affect me to this day from it.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's right though. But She's abusive.
Y'all seen it on camera.
But I mean, it affects every aspect of my life. You know, it affects how I parent my children. You know,
okay, right.
It affects how I react to other people. You know, but at some point, you have to take responsibility for your actions.
Right. You know, I just thought all the times I got fired, that was the boss's fault. It was that job's fault. There's something wrong with them folks.
I mean, but, if everybody keeps saying the same thing, eventually you might
it was like, hold up, wait a minute. Now I'm saying, okay, well, maybe I should have been on time every day. Maybe I shouldn't have took that day off. Maybe, you know.
It's his fault I'm late and I got fired.
Right. No. But a lot of times, you know, it's, you know, and not saying all the time, right? But most of the time, 99% of the time, you are the problem.
Yeah.
I am the problem. I have been the problem. But the thing is, you have to dig deeper into your knowledge of learning about who you are, where you've come from, and why you are the way that you are. And you're not going to understand yourself if you don't open up and to let somebody else know who you are.
But at some point, you have to stop being the victim.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Poor pitiful me.
I was the victim for a long time. And if I would have allowed it, I would have stayed the victim. You know, right. And well, I act this way because of this, or I act this way because this happened to me. Okay, and
that happened. Get over it.
Everybody goes through crap when they're a child or when they're you know what I mean? Because even as an adult, yes, bad things happened. Yes, it sucked. But pull your big girl pants up or big boy pants up and move forward. Take control of your life. Take control of your feelings, your choices, your decisions, because you can only play the victim for so long before, I mean, eventually nobody's going to care that you're the victim. I mean, I'm sorry.
Right. Then you're not going to have anybody to talk to.
I mean, eventually they get tired of hearing it. Okay, yes, bad things happen.
Here comes that guy that's got something going on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, always got a sad story.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, and I'm not being, is it empathetic?
Yeah.
No, maybe. I don't know. But regardless, I'm not being insensitive to the fact that people go through things. Right, and, trauma is real. PTSD is real. Stress is real. Mental disorders, they are real. But you've got to take control of your life. You have to stand up. You have to face those issues. You've got to face them.
Right.
Because if you don't face them, guess what? They are just going to keep coming back. They're going to keep biting you in the butt, and they're going to keep dragging you down and drowning you.
You're going to relapse. Right.
Yeah. And I mean, and you will. There's no way around that unless you address these underlying issues.
Right.
You will not succeed. You will not move forward.
Right. Exactly. And it was until I found out that, I was in drug court. I was almost a year sober. And had not had any triggers, and everybody's talking about, well, this is my trigger, that's my trigger, these people are my triggers, that place is my trigger, and I'm like, I really haven't had any of that. I haven't seen no triggers. But then I started understanding that, okay, now I have anger issues, I know I have depression, I know I have anxiety, and then I realized, okay, now that I'm looking at those are actually my triggers.
Mm-hmm.
So if I see I have to look at, okay, well, what triggers my anger?
Yeah.
Because if I get a hold of my anger first, then I don't even have to worry about my addiction. So if I figure out if I see myself getting depressed, okay, well, what's triggered my depression? Do I need to stay away from these people? Do I need to stay? And these are the triggers that my depression. Once I have a hold on that, again, I don't have to worry about my addiction.
Yeah, then the addiction
is not even. And it just keeps on going down the line. But those are the roots of my addiction.
Yeah.
So,
and those are the things that you need to address in order to keep the addiction. Because I'm real big on, I don't say that, I suffer from addiction. I suffer from, I don't do that.
Right.
I am in recovery. And I am not an addict anymore.
Okay, come on.
Because I'm not going to speak that power, that negativeness over my life. I'm an addict. I'm an addict. I'm an addict. I'll always be an addict. That may be true, for some people, but I'm not an addict anymore.
Right.
I am a sober, living, functioning human being.
Come on.
And I mean, if we address the roots, if we address, where it all started from, then addiction it's in the past. Right. You don't have to worry about it anymore. It's not even a factor that you have to factor into your life.
Right. You don't even have to work on the addiction side of it anymore. Just just the root of the problem.
Yeah.
Right. You know, it's me focusing on if I focus on the addiction, it's all negative. I'm gonna stay negative, and then I'm going to relapse because I don't think I can get through it without it.
Yeah.
So here I am. I'm sober. I'm going on 6 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not an addict.
That's right.
Like you said, I'm not an addict. I do have anger issues. I mean, that's another thing too, realizing that you actually have other problems.
Yeah.
And voicing it and working on it.
Well, it empowers you because then when these situations arise,
that's what gives me the control over my anger, my depression, and my anxiety.
Yeah,
is me recognizing it and saying, "Hey, yeah, I do have this problem, but I'm working on it. I'm still in transition.
Yeah,
I'm working on it, but I'm not an addict no more."
But then it keeps you from being blindsided too by situations, because like you said, you have anger issues. You suffer from anger problems. But the fact that you suffer from anger problems, if a situation arises, immediately your mind goes to, okay, I have anger issues. Calm down. Like it helps you to correct yourself before things even go bad. Right.
And that's with anything. Once you see, okay, well, I'm starting to feel a little depressed. I need to go on and get up, take a shower.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to force yourself. It's like we was talking earlier. We've done things so much. We've worn the path out from here to there.
Yeah.
Moving from one place to another, and we've done things, and we've
always done the same thing over and over. We've always took the same path.
Right.
So when we take that one element away, we have to find new ways to do things.
Right. And sometimes we have to force ourselves to do different things. Like some people are like, man, you're not going to have fun at a church function. I've never had fun at a church function, and I was there.
Yeah,
at that to me in my life, but
I was too.
Since I've gone to church, and I don't know if it's just First Baptist in Hogansville or Celebrate Recovery here, but we have fun.
They feed you.
We have a good time, and I was like. And it's something about this place up here. There's so much love that there's no way not to have fun.
But this isn't the only place.
Not saying that we don't have problems. We're not perfect by no means. But
that's why it's so fun. It's a building full of jacked up people. That
but there was.
We're all like minded. We got issues. Okay.
Right. But there's been times where I've had to force myself to go.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, and it doesn't matter if I feel 100% or if I'm, only running on 50%. Once I leave, I feel better regardless when I leave.
Yeah.
Anytime, whether I've had to force myself to come or whether I'm wanting to come up here, I still feel better when I leave.
Yeah, always.
And, that's the way we are with our, in our addiction. We have to force ourselves to do different things. We have to, but the key factors, though, find out about yourself. Find out about, who you are, who you've been, what you've been through, and face these things,
Yeah, and it's
dig
hard.
deeper. Do your own research on,
Yeah.
and talk to somebody.
Google is something serious,
and it's free.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, our advice up here is free too. Celebrate Recovery is free. Church is free. Jesus is free.
He's super free.
Yeah, right.
Find out the roots of your issues, because that's what's going to help you develop a more progressive treatment plan in treating your recovery. I was going to say something else, but y'all done made me forget. Stop staring at me. I'm just kidding.
We're waiting on you.
No, but it really is really vital that you dig deeper. And I always say, learn yourself.
Right.
Learn who you are again, because for so long you have not known. You've been a stranger to yourself. And it can be hard. It can be very deterring, revisiting old things that have happened and all that. And it can be really scary. But
yeah, and then love and you're out here trying to show love for others. For me, I found out I couldn't love anybody else until I loved myself.
Yeah.
So show yourself some love and find out about yourself. Find out, if you got a problem or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm so, but it does not have to be that way. And you're not. We're created on purpose for a purpose. And I promise you, living in addiction is not our purpose.
No, not at all.
So find out about yourself. We're still learning. about ourselves. We're 6 and 11 years sober, so and we still learn something
There's
new
always
every day.
Room to learn and grow,
right.
like always. Like never, ever, ever stop learning about yourself and learning about, what like. My desire right now is, and if I'm being honest, is doing this podcast and learning and digging deeper into addiction and everything that plays into addiction, everything after addiction. Like I really enjoy it, like so much so that I send him articles after articles after articles.
I love it. I love it because I don't have to do anything. All I got to do is just read her notes. I'm like, yes, I got it. I got one on my team.
But I really love and I really enjoy doing it. Like it really just brings me a sense of just peace and power over my life. And
well, we're in that state of mind now that we don't feel like. I don't say that I've got this ever because I don't have this on my own.
Because it can go bad
right.
Real
it
quick.
Can go sideways right quick. Saying that, but
we're prepared.
Right. Well,
I like to say that I'm prepared if it does.
We've been given we're actually finding out our purpose, and our purpose is helping and loving on others. And if we don't know what we're talking about, then how are we actually helping somebody else?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I took that.
Stole my line, guys. I just said that.
Got another one. See, it works. But it helps me. So what do you find out about me today?
I don't like you anymore. I'm going to get a new partner, you guys. But seriously, how are we going to help y'all if we get up here and we just sound like a bunch of idiots? Have absolutely no idea what we're talking about.
Right. So in those numbers, we got our numbers, on our Facebook page, Celebrate Recovery Facebook page. There's 6 or 7 numbers out there, and those numbers aren't there just to be there,
just to be pretty,
just for show. You can call, if you have a problem, if we don't know about it, we will direct you to somebody that will. So it's not that. We've gained some knowledge on who we are, where we've been, and we know a little bit about what we're talking about.
A little bit. There's still always room to learn more, though. Like I said, that's why I love doing this podcast, because I love learning because I learn more about myself. Doing these articles, I'll be like, golly, Bill, here I thought I had a grip on myself, and here comes another topic, and guess what? I'm still jacked up. Like I got more issues. Great. But it really does dig deeper. It's worth it. You will be so happy that you did it and you learned more about yourself.
Right. And the people around you will appreciate it too, I promise.
I can't stand him. Look, if y'all need help, if y'all have any more questions, any other topics that you're struggling with, we have a bunch of videos. Like he said, look on our Facebook page. Can I say the Facebook page?
Yeah, Celebrate Recovery Hogansville.
I just want to make
it's
sure.
It's out
there. Get our numbers. If you have any questions, you need some advice, or you just need somebody to talk to, or just somebody to pray with you, call us. We're here. We're here for y'all. We love y'all so much.